Yeah, we'll call the meeting to order, the Executive Committee of Monterey Bay Community Power, and we'll go ahead and start with a roll call.
Great, thank you. Committee member McPherson calling from County of Santa Cruz.
Here.
McShane.
Here.
Freeman.
Here.
Mendez is absent. And Corpus.
Here.
Excellent. So with that, we'll go ahead and open the floor to public comment. If there's any members of the public that would like to comment on items not on the agenda, now's your chance. Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and take it to the board. Are there any corrections or additions to the agenda? Anything that may not be listed? Okay, so seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to the regular agenda. And why don't we start with the first item? Tom, do you want to lead that?
Sure, glad to. It comes March when the policy board meets. It would be 1 year in my contract, and I think it probably needs some revisions. And what this item requires is, or asks for, that the executive committee appoints 1 or 2 people from the board to work with me on what the changes should be like. Before that, I just want to mention that I had a chance to speak to a couple of directors, more specifically about what is the proper process, because we know that that was an issue last time around. And after talking to them, I came up with a process that I want to share with you and see if that works for you folks. Generally, today, we'll see if we can appoint 1 or 2 people to work with me on what the changes would look like. And we'll have these changes be listed in principles. Then I will try to do that later this week or early next week, and then have the policy board come in a closed session in a special meeting before March. So the negotiating team from the executive committee will share with them what they've concluded to be the changes that need to be done. And to the extent that they get their concurrence or get changes to what the group decided on, they can take that, come back and talk to me one more time, and then Rob will take those changes and reflect them in the contract. Then the contract will go to the policy board for approval in March. Would that be an acceptable process to you folks?
Feedback sounds good. I wonder if we'd be able to get things done without a special meeting. But I guess based on the time frame, is that what you're thinking?
It's based on the time frame and based on the feedback that I got from the folks that basically said they don't want the contract to come to them without some sort of an input that they can give to the negotiating team. So I would prefer that. And we'll try to get that meeting go as soon as possible in early February, probably late January, early February, just to get the entire group, the entire board, having some idea about what those changes are going to look like and allow them to have some input in the process.
Excellent. And while we're together, I'm sure it'll provide an opportunity for a bit of an update on PG&E, if nothing else.
So precisely, I think that we also need to have that because we will be having a closed session with the operations board tomorrow, and I think we need to do the same with the policy board prior to March.
Bruce, did you have something?
No, I'm trying to think just to get through with the process. I don't know that more than one director from representing each executive committee. I think that would be enough. I don't know that we need 4. It's just easier to get. I have talked to Renee Mendez, the chair of the operations board, who was through the negotiating process before. He is willing and able to do that. I know he's not there, but I think I can speak for him to say that he would do that. I would be glad to do it too. Although if somebody else would really like to do that, please speak up, and we can. I'm open to that as well. But I would be glad to do that. To have Renee and myself or somebody else from the policy board executive committee to get together with Tom to get the basis of the proposed contract to be presented to the policy board.
Mr. Chair, so moved.
Yeah, moved.
Seconded.
Seconded. Excellent. Any discussion?
Did I volunteer for another committee? God, I don't know. Whatever. Okay, let's move on then.
Well,
No, go ahead, Steve.
Just one question, Chairman. Would you be available sometime later this week or early next week? I know how your schedule is. I just want to make sure
Yeah,
that.
I know. Okay, probably the 22nd. Well, Monday's a holiday, but Tuesday would be. Let's see, the end of this week. I'm pretty. Let's see now. Do I have on Friday? Do we have? Is there an evaluation? Do we have a meeting at 9:15 to evaluate the CEO? Mid-year evaluation?
For this week?
No,
I don't know.
no, we don't.
Okay, that's not. I don't know why that's on one of these calendars. I think that the 22nd would be fine, and I can get together with Renee or discuss. To meet in Monterey with you. Let's see.
Great. We'll try to work it out then early next week.
Okay. So
Yeah, the 22nd would be the best day for me right now.
Gotcha.
And just go ahead and put any time down there at this point. I know that Renee said his council meets, they usually meet Mondays, and so I don't know if they're going to meet on Tuesday, but go ahead. That's the best day for me, January 22nd.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so taking
All
it
right.
to the public, are there any members of the public that would like to speak on this item?
Bring your mic closer.
Okay, seeing none, back to the board. We have a motion and a second. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign?
Aye.
Okay. Passes unanimously. Great. Well, we might even be able to get another another appointment out of Bruce here. Let's see. Looks like we have another committee that's needed. So our next item,
Yeah.
Tom, do you want to lead with that?
Sure, glad to. I think we've the JPA calls for the chair and the vice chair to be reappointed, I believe, every year, if I remember correctly. We've obviously skipped a year last year because we're not yet in business, so we've kind of moved right along. We are now bringing in an entirely new board. However, we still have all four people that have been the chair and vice chair for the two boards are still with us. So to the extent that you folks want to make a change, we're asking that you make an appointment again of a nominating committee to nominate the chair and the vice chair. If you want to continue with the current leadership, then I would suppose that you don't need to do anything.
You know, if I could just suggest, since Renee and Bruce will be getting together next week, maybe they can come up with whatever it is, even if it's status quo, because I assume it'll be agendized at the next policy board meeting and will need to be acted on. So that's a suggestion. We could literally hit two birds with one stone.
I agree, yeah. I agree.
Okay.
Okay. So I just would like to get a sense, and I appreciate it. I think there's some folks that may want to be chair, or I don't know. I haven't heard that, but I'm not sure if how to approach this. I feel comfortable, and I think it's good that we have this consistency going on. So I would, should I put out could we put out a notice of anyone that would be interested in chair and vice chair of either of these committee or these boards, the policy and operations boards, or you just want
I think
Renee and I to get together and say, okay, we ought to stick. I don't know. It's kind of self-serving for us to say we ought to stay where we are, but so I'm a little.
we could have Bren send a note out letting people know, perhaps.
How would you feel about? How does everybody feel about that?
Yeah.
I don't want to make it sound like I'm.
This is Ray Corpus. I think it's okay to continue with the current slate unless the current slate doesn't want to continue.
Okay.
I think there's some continuity. We've just finished 1 year, and I think it's important to get into that second year, which is as critical, you know. Not saying that other people can't participate. I just think this probably is more for continuity and getting through some rough times, maybe with PG&E.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't disagree. Obviously, there'll need to be some consideration, action, and a recommendation at the next meeting of the policy board. So, you know, with the idea that there be continuity recommended, I again would put it to Renee and to Bruce to discuss and come up with a recommendation using whatever methodology they feel is appropriate at the next meeting. Anybody?
Okay.
And I feel that, to continue what Ray said, continuity is really important, especially right now with PG&E having, you know, their issues, their big-time issues. People are feeling, constituents are feeling lost and wondering what's what, and I feel a little continuity would be appropriate.
Not bad.
Okay. Should we report to the policy and the operations board what we have discussed? That I don't know, that Ray and I or excuse me, Renee and I are interested, but we are open to anybody else who is interested in the position, or you know, I'm a little self-cognizant. I just want to make sure that people don't think we're just ramming, or I am ramming this down their throats, and I appreciate the comments. I want to give anybody else that wants to have this opportunity to do so if they wish, but maybe that can be taken care of in the
Can I suggest
schedule that we had.
Mr. McPherson, can I suggest an idea? Let's see if that one works. The item calls for the appointment of 1 or 2 people to be the nominating committee, and maybe what we can do here is ask John to be the nominating person of the slate of officers for both the operating board and policy board. He is not on any of these positions currently, so he can make the nomination, and it would not be an issue of self-serving. And these nominations could be taken both to the operations board and to the policy board during their meetings in February and March. Would that work, Rob?
Well, as a process, it absolutely works. And to the chair's question about soliciting the input of current policy and operations board members, whether they would be interested in serving, we can do that. We can communicate that we're looking to see who's interested. They could respond directly back to Bren without CCs to others, so that we don't create a Brown Act issue. And then we can inform John what members might be interested in serving, so that he can it'll help inform his recommendations as to who would be on the candidate list for nominees.
Sure.
Yeah, and would it require a representative from the operations board as well? Is that how it's written? Or is it just the policy board? Officers of the policy board and the operations board. So somebody from the operations board would need to step forward. I don't know if there's
Yeah.
somebody that isn't here we can recommend.
I'm just trying to
Sure.
avoid the self-serving
No,
aspect
well,
of it.
well said. No, I think that's fair. I mean, I don't know. Is there anybody?
Yeah.
Maybe Jamie?
I can think of either Jamie or Matt or somebody to.
Okay.
I mean,
You want to?
Jamie's stepping down, though. Seaside's coming up in
okay.
January.
Well, no, Jamie's not Seaside.
No, I know, but he's Capitola, so he's not going to be on the board after
Okay.
this meeting, after tomorrow's
So
meeting.
so I can reach out to Matt or somebody that's
Would
sort of
Matt
stand.
still be on the board?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So without him here, maybe for now we'll just say Matt or designee as. This will require an motion, so maybe it's Matt or designee,
Yeah.
by Chair Mendez. I think we're getting close.
Sure.
Okay. And
Okay,
it sounds
so-
like John's agreeable.
Yeah. I'll do that.
That's cool. Any representative of the public that would like to chime in on this matter? Okay, seeing none, I think we're ready for a motion, and I think we're close.
I move that we appoint 2 directors from the executive committee to nominate 2019 officers for policy and operations board.
And that those would be yourself and then John,
Renee.
Matt or designee of.
sorry, Matt, or designee by the operations committee. Okay, I think that's clear.
It's on video.
And it's on
And,
Facebook.
and Matt is city manager of Capitola or Seaside?
Watsonville.
Watsonville.
Watsonville. Hey, okay.
Matt
Okay.
Huffaker.
We have a motion. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 I'm sorry, I didn't catch who motion and seconded.
John
And,
I moved.
motion. Renee was second.
thank you.
No sweat. Okay, motion passes. So next item on the agenda, selection process for board members. Tom, do you want to lead that?
Sure, and just before that, I just want to let Renee know that he got appointed as one of the 2 people that will be on the negotiating
That's what I get for
team.
being late.
That's what happens when you.
You can blame Renee.
And that we're trying to get a meeting on.
It just goes back and forth.
Yeah, we might be able to get that meeting after we get through with the agenda, if you wish. We can set a date.
We're looking for a meeting on Tuesday, next Tuesday, so hopefully you'll be able
I'll
to
check right now.
clear
Okay.
some time.
All right.
Next item has to do with nominating of representatives, both on operations board and on the policy board. One, because we have in 2 boards, and 2, because we have rotating seats. That process, given the guidelines that we have in JPA today, is becoming a bit cumbersome and difficult to work with. We just wanted to let you know that, and get your feedback if you have any, that we are thinking about making certain changes as to how the process is going to change, not how the structure is going to change. The structure is going to remain the same. We just want to find a process that would be more workable, to be able to get the assignments to be made promptly. One of the other issues that concerns us is having the representative as well as the alternate become are 2 people from 2 different cities. That we found out that sometimes just doesn't work very well, and we want to make changes to the JPA to the effect that we want both the representative and the alternate to be from the same city for both the policy board and the operation board. We'll bring these changes to you with recommendations as to how to eventually make them happen in the JPA as well as the operating rules and regs. I just wanted to bring it to your attention, see if you want to have any discussion about it, and if not, we'll just go ahead and start working on the changes and the edits and the revisions, and hopefully we'll be able to bring it to you to coincide with any additional changes that we need to make in case we are able to bring in new members to the JPA. And here I'm speaking specifically of the county of San Luis Obispo, as well as the other 5 incorporated city within the county.
Discussion,
Yeah, Mr. Chair,
questions?
I do have I get the justification or the potential benefits from having the same representatives from both the same city. I actually don't know how practical that is moving forward. I mean, I think we can certainly encourage it and suggest it. But for example, South County, we've had such a significant change, South Monterey County, in city managers or leadership. It's sometimes it's difficult. So I don't know if I want to necessarily make it a requirement, but more of a strong recommendation to see if we can sort of push folks there. Because we actually had that discussion this year in South County. And based on the availability of the representatives, Greenfield was going through a transition, new mayor, new city manager. While we didn't go through it, there was some transition as far as new council members. And so I just kind of want to leave that open. I mean, unless it really hasn't been working really. So that's all. I'm concerned that might be sort of somewhat restrictive. Or if we do that, there's a process to, if for whatever reason, the areas still have the ability to go different if that's what works best for them.
Is that
One of the
only-
things that we, by the way, we are encouraging, not encouraging, but at least leaving the door open to, that if the 3 cities or the 4 cities that share one seat, if they want continuity and if they want to leave the city that's already making the representation to continue on for another 2 years, that's fine. We absolutely encourage that if that's what's necessary in order to deal with issues of new people coming in. They really don't want to be having this this responsibility to jump onto. They have other things that they're busy with, and if their current representation is solid and it wants to continue, then we can continue with that too. We're not requiring and will not be asking for the change to happen, but we're just asking for the representation to be from the same city. That's all.
Who decides now?
Or,
When there's a rotating 3 or 4 cities, do you guys just get together?
yeah,
or is
well,
that,
I would
okay.
tell you how we did it. We literally just sent an email among the city managers. The Greenfield city manager being new was like, no, this might be a heavy lift for me. To the managers, we worked to talk to our respective mayors about their appointments, and that's how it was kind of it was just like that,
Pretty casual.
pretty casual. Last time was a little bit more formal, so it's the first time.
Yeah.
We actually discussed it. This time it was a lot more casual, and for example, Mayor Orozco was, can I be the alternate, and Ana would be the primary, and so we just worked it among the group. It was very informal, and then those recommendations go forward.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the mayor's select committee or whatever, or whichever committee needs to sort of appoint.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of one of those people you're talking about because
Yeah, sure.
I'm a shared seat with the city of Hollister. And as you may or may not remember, the representative from the city of Hollister, who was Ray Friend, who, not to get literal, but was a friend of mine, and we worked together and made a transition because he resigned from both this board and from the Hollister City Council and moved to Spokane, Washington about 5 months ago. So that's why I'm here a little early or a little late or however you want to put it. I just think it's good to have that kind of flexibility. It's good to have that kind of relationship. I don't know if that's going to work each and every time, though. And I understand we have 3 new council members. Hollister has 4 new council members, and we're all kind of struggling as to what's what. So.
Just to understand the protocol now, so with those seats where there is a rotation, it's amongst the city managers currently or amongst the mayors in those jurisdictions to decide. That's kind of how it goes? Is it in, and how, can you refresh our memory? Yeah, maybe Rob can.
Sure. Yeah, the process as laid out in the JPA agreement is under paragraph 3.1.5, and that requires the member agencies to use the city selection committee within their county jurisdiction. The county of Santa Cruz uses this process very effectively. I think the county of Monterey uses the process very effectively. It's less so in the county of San Benito and less so, and I should say I don't know in the county of San Luis Obispo. And that is just because of the frequency that you have multi-jurisdictional boards that come up. It's typically the city clerk, or the county clerk for the particular jurisdictions. And the way that the voting has been done, at least in Monterey, is that shared seats would be voted upon at the city selection committee by those jurisdictions that would be made up of that
Impacted,
seat.
okay, yeah.
So if it's a shared seat between Gonzales, Soledad, and Greenfield, only those 3 cities at the city selection committee would actually vote on those shared seat appointments. There is some flexibility because the language in the JPA does not expressly say city selection committee, that there is some flexibility that some shared seat jurisdictions have informally worked out what that process may look like.
both Hollister and San Juan, the mayor appoints their representative to the various boards, including this one. And then it's, I guess it was in the JPA, I'm not absolutely certain, that we rotate every 2 years. And so we just literally flip back and forth every 2 years.
Got it. But as it states in the JPA, if you were to decide on something different, there's the flexibility to do that.
I didn't know that, so. yeah.
Sounds like.
For Hollister and San Juan Bautista, it's a little bit unique because it's a 2-city shared and there is a term limit, so they would rotate every 2 years. In other jurisdictions where it's shared amongst multiple, 2 or more, or 3 or more, then there'd be more flexibility for appointment.
And the one thing that has been used by some of the cities that have shared seats is to do what Renee was referring to earlier, whereby the representative would be from one city, the alternate from another. Then for the other board, it kind of switches. You'll have the representative is from the other city and the alternate from from the first city. So, and that is something that we will make a strong recommendation to change and just have both the representative and the alternate be from the same city, preferably for both boards.
Sure. So given that appointments are on the table right now, I don't think there's anything that precludes us from best practices or, obviously we could reflect, we had a conversation on this topic and, the continuity and the benefit of an alternate from the same jurisdiction, I think is the most pressing unless there was any other concern. I don't know. It doesn't sound like we want to change the JPA agreement. If I'm gathering consensus, I don't know if there's any other input or questions.
Does that require a recertification by
Right.
each jurisdiction?
Yeah, that's another question.
That's a big
right?
step.
No, I don't think so.
If we were to change the appointment process, would it require each jurisdiction to affirm?
No, it won't. And under the JPA, to amend the terms of the JPA, there simply needs to be a 30-day notice, complete with what the exact language of the amendment would be, circulated and then voted upon at the policy board with I think it's a 2/3 vote.
Okay.
If I can just may I ask a question? One of the benefits or advantages of both of the boards, particularly the operations board, that it is city manager sort of level. If we're asking for a representative for that board from the same city, then we might have to go into our staffs, which is, I guess, okay, but it kind of changes the dynamic of the body itself. Not that it's not workable, but it does change it. So I kind of see that working for like let's say a city at the policy level. You have a mayor and a council member and a mayor. Because they're all policy level.
Yep.
But if you change that, most of us don't have assistants or deputies. Right? And so I can be assisting with mine, but sort of. So I don't know if I'm understanding that, or if you want the mayor and the representative of the policy body and the operations board to be from the same city.
Yeah, I think that the JPA calls for city manager or somebody from the senior level of the city. And I understand your point perfectly, which is, that is correct. And if I put a senior manager in there, probably they're not going to feel that they are sitting among equal as the people on the policy board will do. Point well taken, and I think if we put any changes or requests in the rules and regs, and it will not be in the JPA in this case, it will be in the rules and regs, it will be more of an encouraging, or at least making sure that the alternate and representative are aligned in their voting approach.
Okay. So with that, are there any comments from the public? Sure, come on down. Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mary Ann Carbone, City of Sand City Mayor, and I was just stopping in today to pay a little visit. We had our mayor's meeting the first Friday, and there was some board appointments, and I am from one of the cities that shares a vote or so City of Marina, Seaside, and Sand City. And we selected Ian Oglesby with the City of Seaside to be the primary. And he put my name in as an alternate, so I could see that's what you're talking about right now. So anyways, I was just bringing that forward. And the reason why Mr. Oglesby thought me coming in as an alternate so that we would be on top or on the same page working together instead of going 2 years. And, you know, like City of Marina had a couple years. And so Mayor Oglesby asked if I wouldn't mind that the city take it on next as being the primary. And I supported him with that. But then, of course, he wanted to pull me in as an alternate, and that was his reasoning. Why was that, you know, we should all be up to speed on what's happening with community power. So
Helpful.
anyways, I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for
welcome.
joining us. Yeah. Okay, so seeing our discussion, I don't think we need to take any action. So with that,
Yeah.
we'll.
Tom, so we're not going to make any changes to the process we have now then, is that correct?
If we do, then it will be in a few months, and it will be in the rules and regs, not in the JPA itself.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right.
All right. That concludes item number 5. We'll go on to item number 6. That concludes our action items, our discussion there. So going on into information items. So item number 7. Tom?
That's board member reports.
I think that's
Okay,
reports from you
going around,
folks.
anything at all?
I'd like to thank Tom for sending out those articles on PG&E because, believe it or not, we do have media in San Juan and Hollister, and I did get more than my share of phone calls about it. So, thank you.
Sure thing, and I'll keep that going continuously. This is, we have a daily phone call, and some of them last for an hour, others last for longer, and on those calls we have all the CEOs from the CCAs along with their attorneys. So Rob is with me on those calls now in order to discuss any issues related to what's going on with Pacific Gas and Electric. Tomorrow we're going to be having a closed session with one of our boards, and when we have the special session with the policy board, we'll also have a closed session to talk about what's going on there, and I'll be able to be more extensive in my comment than I am right now.
Excellent. Yeah, I'd also just ask, are we planning on acknowledging outgoing board members? Will they get a certificate? Are they coming to the meetings as we transition to new board members? Is there anything planned there?
Proclamations to be sent out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. They'll be mailed or something. Okay.
Working on it.
Working on them. Cool. Okay, great. I'll just announce that this Saturday, the City of Salinas is hosting a Salinas Valley Sustainability Fair and EV Test Drive. Delighted to know that Monterey Bay Community Power will be there. We have a number of really awesome speakers. There's 15 or 16 cars confirmed, the MSTE bus, BYD will be there. I mean, it'll be fun for the whole family. So just acknowledging that and anybody that'd be interested to join. So with that, unless there's any other commentary, sure, Ray?
January 22nd. We have the presentation by Community Power at our city
Great.
council meeting. An update, Tom did the last one. I think you're probably going to do the next one, right? So that should generate a lot of discussion, or at least interest, because of what's going on with PG&E and the effect on community choice aggregate. So
Look forward to that.
information.
Okay. I think this concludes our exec meeting. It was very good. Bruce, glad you could call in.
Thank you. Yeah, now, is Renee there? Maybe I should just call him, or does the 20, if I could, is Renee Mendez there? Did I hear
Yes.
that he came in?
Yes,
Right?
he is.
Um,
And
Can he make it on the 22nd at any time?
I-
I'm sorry, maybe I should call him directly. I don't know, whatever you want me to do.
Hey, now's as good a time as any.
Yeah.
Kind enough, Mr. McPherson to call Renee, he's right here, and I'll give him a couple of times so we can meet.
Cell phone is in hand.
Bruce?
Are you, is he there?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Okay.
What, give me a time. Just give me a time right now.
It's like 8:30 in the morning.
Let's do it.
8:30 in the morning, Bruce, is that good?
Morning's fine. We could have, I can get up early and meet you, I don't know, at the office there or,
Well,
where do you wanna meet?
We'll send in a meeting place that will be reasonably close, a little close to both of you.
Midway.
Okay, we're good.
Shall we say 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or something like that? Would that be okay?
Sure, 8
Then
o'clock.
you can just tell me where.
All right, we'll do.
We're good.
What time do you think? 8 or 9 o'clock, something like that?
8 sounds good?
8 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay. I'll just put it down and, all right, I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Thank you,
you, Bruce.
everybody, and thank you
Thank
for
you.
understanding. I appreciate it.
Happy New Year.
Take care.
All right. Happy New Year to everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, we'll stand adjourned.